Well, good morning. Welcome to Kelowna Now Live. I'm Jason Mann with Jim Check, and here we are with your top stories and headlines for the day, including your weather forecast for ATB Wealth. We'll start things off with some provincial news. BC will spend more on interest payments than social services in 23-24, says a report that's just been published.
I thought just spending as much money as you wanted didn't matter.
Imagine
Isn't that what our Prime Minister said? Doesn't matter?
Yeah.
Well, interest payments on federal and provincial debt in British Columbia will be higher than the province's entire social services budget in the 23-24 financial year, according to a new report. The province is expected to spend $9.6 billion on interest costs, according to the Fraser Institute. That equates to $1,764 a person. Across Canada, the interest rates will be $81.8 billion. BC has the lowest cost per person, while Newfoundland has the highest. Again,
the interest on the debt alone.
Use that money for.
Yeah.
Homelessness, housing, all kinds of things, right? Let's get those interest rates down and let's be more responsible in how the government spends money. Maybe we should shrink the government.
Well, I don't think you'd get too far if you were running your house that way. When the interest payments start to exceed the...
Well, I think that's what most Canadians are feeling right now.
Yeah.
Because the bank's not that lenient with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because they're just like, hey, do you want that house or not?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, AI-aided robots have taken over repetitive tasks at St. Paul's Hospital in downtown Vancouver.
Well, just at a BC lab in that hospital. But for now,
right.
Far from the jungle, Tarzan and Jane, they're calling them, swing quietly into action in a sterile laboratory at the St. Paul's Hospital in downtown Vancouver. The robots work with artificial intelligence to handle and process up to 70% of the hospital's microbiology samples. I guess, in a way, that's probably good because, nobody's getting exposed, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's...
But they say lab automation not new. The hospital says the WASP lab's use of AIs is a first for Western Canada, assessing and sorting culture plates, separating bacterial cultures, and letting staff know something needs more analysis.
Sometimes ChatGPT does some weird things, so I would wonder if they'd be cross-referencing and spot checking this work.
Could the robots and AI replace human staff in the hospitals in the future? And here's where you have to listen very carefully to the answer. Romney said, in the hospital, both would play a role in healthcare settings, but would never completely replace medical professionals. Completely is the word you have to listen to there. AI is coming for you.
Well, a father of a murdered teen girl accused of bringing gun to BC court with intent to kill.
We talked a lot about this court case. The father of the murdered 13-year-old girl has been under police investigation for allegedly bringing a loaded gun into the Vancouver courtroom on the day of the sentencing of Ibrahim Ali, who was convicted of killing his daughter. Lawyers for Ali are refusing to show up in court post-trial proceedings, citing safety concerns about the man who can't be named because of a publication ban on the identity of the murdered girl. Really, really sad case. The father of the girl has retained a lawyer to fight the right to listen to the post-trial hearings. He has not been charged. The court documents show he'll be face court next month about the disposal of items police seized from him on December 9th, the day of the verdict. And he also will be facing a prohibition order, likely to say you can't have a gun anymore. But has not been charged as yet.
Well, transit advocates in the Okanagan are encouraging elected officials to get on the bus.
There you go. Transit advocates in the Okanagan are encouraging elected officials to ride the bus. They want them to experience the bus from January 29th until Sunday, February 4th. I mean, a lot of people have to ride that bus every day. So they're just asking, people that make decisions on that stuff to ride the bus. So according to the group, 15 mayors and councils have already agreed to take up the challenge, but quite a few others have refused. Following the week-long challenge will be a wrap-up celebration at Railside Brewing in Kelowna from 6 to 8 p.m. on February 4th. And they're encouraging any supporters of Better Transit to come enjoy some free food, drinks, and games with their community. I'm sure lots of people will show up for that. In Kelowna, the people that are the councillors that have signed up to do this challenge is Gord Lovegrove, Luke Stack, Rick Weber, And Maxine DeHart is out of town and unable to participate. But there is no, the mayor's not on there, and the other councillors aren't on that list. And as far as West Kelowna goes, Garrett Millsap and Stephen Johnson, both of them we're very familiar with. So there you go. Good for those guys.
And BC's police watchdog is investigating an arrest that left one man seriously harmed in the North Okanagan.
Yeah, so on January 3rd, RCMP officers are called to a report of a suspicious vehicle being driven by a man on Bloom Road in Lumbee. When they arrived, officer tried to stop the vehicle and speak with the driver. However, the man allegedly did not cooperate and attempted to lock himself inside the vehicle. According to the IIO, an interaction between the officers and the man ensued, which ended with the man being arrested. Of course, the cops aren't going to just leave him. Once the man was in custody, officers discovers he was suffering a serious injury that appeared to be self-inflicted. He was taken to the hospital for medical treatment. The IIO was notified shortly after the incident, and after initial investigation will determine the circumstances of the interaction between police and the man and what role, if any, police action or inaction may have played in that incident. There you go. So we got a video.
Yeah, so as the airport continues to grow and become extremely busy, major hotel chain is betting about $120 million on the fact that they have a business there. So I don't know, let's just roll the tape, I guess.
Let's roll that video, yeah.
Work is well underway on an airport terminal building expansion here at the Kelowna Airport, but there's more. It's now official that the Kelowna Airport will now have a true airport hotel to be built directly next to the terminal building.
The Sutton Place Hotel will be a convenient landing spot for those with a short layover, those arriving with plans to stay and explore the Okanagan Valley, and for those departing with YLW and wanting to avoid the early morning rush to the airport. This new commercial development at YLW will be an economic driver for the entire community by creating jobs and promoting tourism throughout our region. In addition, the parkade being built as part of this development will offer additional parking options for those traveling from YLW and through YLW.
2025, we're really excited to get going in this project. We'll be commencing the hotel and the parkade. Looks about a 3-year process to build those both out. It'll be a 7-level parkade, about 1,000 stalls, which we'll be building, which I think the airport needs, and we're really excited to work with the airport on fulfilling that need. And then a 6-story full-service Sutton Place hotel, which again, really excited about that. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Sutton Place, it's a 4.5-star luxury branded hotel chain that we like to describe as an elevated state of classic luxury with modern European flair. And the Sutton Place is going to offer such features as full-service valet, bellhop service, concierge, turn-down service, and a lot more. The
4.5 star, nice.
There you go. 245 rooms. That's odd that the parkade will be taller than the hotel. The parkade's 7 stories and the hotel is 6 stories. And they said they're going to have a penthouse lounge there. So is the penthouse lounge going to look directly into the parkade? I'm sure it'll be on the backside of it. But anyway, that's good news. I've traveled a lot when I did some other jobs. And Winnipeg has a hotel. Like you just walk outside of arrivals and you walk across the street and you walk right into a hotel. Really nice in Winnipeg, especially when they cancel flights, because of the weather all the time.
Yeah.
So you can actually just kind of just, like sit it out in a hotel room as opposed to sleeping in the airport like many people do. I think it's great to see hotels being built right at the airport.
Yeah.
Calgary has tons of hotels in around the airport, but a quick couple minutes, but great to see that Kelowna is getting one.
I imagine it'll be booked and busy.
I would say so, and I think that a lot of the people that probably would use it, I'd say if you're coming from Grand Forks, because don't forget our airport services the boundary country services throughout the Okanagan. So if you're coming from Osoyoos and you got an early morning flight, you can come into Kelowna, stay right at the airport, and not have to worry about the stress of getting to the airport because you're already there. Because I think a lot of people get stressed about like sometimes weather and stuff like that, getting to the airport. So I think this will be really good for people that need to, just wait for their early morning flight, or they get in late.
Yeah.
Right. So
A teen has been hospitalized after a collision while being towed on a sled behind a truck in Lake Country.
I have to admit, we were guilty of that when we were youth as well, and not a very smart thing. We used to do it with skis, which, again, not smart because you have very little control over what's happening. And this is what happened to this person. They were being towed, and they ended up in the other lane and then hitting the back end of the path of an oncoming SUV. And the teen on the sled was not hit head on, but he did, get a number of injuries from hitting the back end of that SUV.
Lucky.
Very lucky that he didn't go underneath that SUV or anything like that, right? So, fortunately, like I said, none of the injuries are life-threatening. But the driver of the truck was issued a violation ticket for driving without due care and attention, and a $368 fine and 6 demerit points. What did the guy on the sled get?
Sore head.
Anyway.
All right.
Let's look at 5 things.
Topping the list.
Yeah, so there's one. A little mix-up in Hollywood there between the names of Tom Hollander and Tom Holland, and he got the check for the Spider-Man actor Tom Holland. So
Oops.
6 figures too. Personally, bonus.
Bank probably would have cashed it too.
And then the vandals cut down a statue of Captain Cook on the eve of Australia Day. There you go. Tucker. Oh, that's all over all over X. Tucker was in Alberta yesterday, and he did an appearance in Calgary and one in Edmonton, and lots and lots of stuff on X on Tucker. I guess Premier Daniel Smith went on stage with him. Jordan Peterson was on stage with him, as was Conrad Black. Remember Conrad Black owned almost every newspaper in Canada and the U.S. and spent some time in jail. That was also with David Radler, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that case broke in Kelowna.
Yeah, it did.
Right?
Yeah,
that the whatever the collapse of that empire was sparked out of Kelowna for Conrad Black and David Radler.
Yeah,
I had a chat with David Radler once, and he explained to me, like, when they went public, like, he said he was riding his bike and his exercise bike, and then he became like a billionaire. Like,
wow, probably the time he got off the bike.
Crazy, something like that. I mean, that's my memory.
Yeah,
and it may be flawed as you get older.
That was
always
the Courier,
gets flawed, right?
Yeah,
Daily Courier is part of that. Yeah, I think they own almost all the newspapers. Girls 10 and 11 charged in separate incidents after threatening to shoot up schools. Like, so that seems silly, right? But what's number 5? And then number 5 things. Republican official accused of attempting to bribe U.S. Senate candidate after audio clip. Yeah, so that's, again, silly stuff, right? But that one on Justin Trudeau, that one Liberal MP from Newfoundland spoke out and said that there should be a leadership review. Well, he's retracted those statements this morning.
Oh, yes. Felt a little heat from the kitchen.
Well, there you go. You know what? If I was a leader and somebody said we should have, I'd say I'd welcome a review, right? Because it just proves that. But he said there hasn't been a review of Justin Trudeau's leadership. I watched the interview with CBC, and there hasn't been a review, including the 2 times that he won minority governments. And he said usually after any minority government, like you don't win a majority, there's a leadership review. Mm-hmm. But in this case, it's not, what's that word? Not acceptable. But they're not very responsive to having,
responsive, yeah.
to having the leadership question. Okay.
Well, it may not be the last we hear of it. Sounds like there's maybe other.
Well, I mean, if you watch the interview with the Liberal MP from Newfoundland, he said some things in that interview that are pretty accurate. He said he's just echoing the comments of Canadians that he hears all day long. And here again, this government does not want to hear from Canadians because they are speaking. Yeah,
exactly. And if you look at the article that Ian Burns wrote about, or the interview with Dan Mateague, he felt that there would be some review coming up here in the next little while. So it'll be interesting to see if
it's stamping on little fires, right? As soon as anybody, because there's been a few Liberal MPs that have spoken out before, including Joel Lightbound back in the COVID stuff and that, and they've been quickly
extinguished.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, shall we move on to the weather forecast?
Let's do the weather.
Look at that. We've got a few showers today, very mild, almost spring-like, high of 3, down to 0 overnight. And checking around the weather images, you can see right now.
You can see right there. It looks like us.
We have snow in the hills, some cloud in the sky, and things are melting. Roads are quite a bit safer in the valley here. Not to mention the roads around the province, though, on the highways. That one there is heading to Calgary, and this is heading to Vancouver. A couple shots. This is the and there's see the ice just building up on that camera there. You can see that's the summit of the connector. Yeah, 2 ice tiers. And of course, where we want the snow, hey?
But look at that. That's deeper. That's
I know,
100%
right?
deeper.
Yeah, like that's feet of snow there. So that's looking great up at Happy Valley. Unfortunately,
So Big White's not calling in today, though. Right?
yeah, we missed our call with them. They've got some things that they need to attend to. Busy up there. So
Get some snow shovels by the looks of it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's nice. And with this kind of weather, it's got to be just perfect up there for hitting the slopes. So now, as we take a look at the 5-day weather forecast out towards the weekend, tomorrow, mixed bag.
It just gets better and better and better.
It does, really. I mean, look at those temps. A little bit of sunshine tomorrow. It'll be mostly cloudy, but we'll see a bit breaking through. Some rain showers.
8 on Monday?
8 on Monday. Wow. 8 on Monday. And I mean, 7 on the weekend and maybe some sunshine on Saturday. So
that looks impressive. I've golfed in worse than that.
True enough, right? So that's your weather forecast for ATB Wealth. Realize your vision of wealth. Go to atb.com/wealth Kelowna.
I'm really liking the look of our new studio with the the Kelowna backdrop in there. So
yeah, a little more elbow room.
Oh yeah, you know what I mean. So that's good. Stretch out a bit. I think we're back later today with
we got
Janine, I think, from MNP
right.
talking about Canadian debt and the struggles that Canadians are having with it.
Yeah, and that's been one of the bigger stories at KelownaNow.com over the last
I mean, that's what we're hearing from people over and over again. And people in Canada are speaking out, but according to even that Liberal MP, no one's allowed to speak out, or nobody wants to hear it in the government, though.
Mm-hmm. People don't love talking about that, I guess, but you know what? If we don't get talking about it,
yeah. Anyway, well, I think it's at 2:00. Am I right, Sophie? At 2:00. Sophie says we'll see you at 2:00 for a live stream talking about debt with MNP, and we're back at 4 p.m. with the afternoon news.
Until then, have a good, safe day.
Yeah, have a great day. Bye.